Okay, so we've got a ton of really interesting notes from all of you about soulmates.
Yeah.
And we're going to take a deep dive and see if this whole soulmate thing actually holds water,
Hmm.
in the modern world.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do we even define a soulmate these days?
Right.
And why are we still so fascinated by this idea when, like, relationships have changed so much?
It's a really intriguing question.
It really is.
I mean, this idea of soulmates has been around for centuries,
Yeah.
and it pops up in so many different cultures.
Oh, absolutely.
But it seems like the meaning has kind of shifted over time.
Yeah.
Like, is it destiny?
Right.
Or is it more about, like, deep connection and personal growth? And how
Right.
does that fit in with everything else we know about relationships today?
Exactly, and that's what we're going to dig into today. We've
Yeah.
got an awesome group of folks to help us unpack all of this.
Cool.
We've got a relationship expert, a love coach, and a sociologist.
Wow.
So we're really getting a 360-degree view here.
That's great.
Yeah, and to make things even more interesting, we'll be bringing in some real-life stories
Oh, nice.
from listeners just like you towards the end.
I love that.
So get ready, because I think this is going to change how you think about love and connection.
I'm ready.
Awesome.
I think a good starting point might be to define what a soulmate actually is.
Absolutely. I mean, is it that one perfect person you're destined to be with?
Right.
Or is it somebody who just gets you on a deep level?
Yeah.
Or maybe it's more about a bond that helps you grow as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And why has this whole soulmate idea stuck around for so long?
Yeah. Like across so many cultures and throughout history.
I mean, it seems like this desire for a deep connection is something we all share.
Yeah.
And maybe the soulmate idea gives that desire like a name and a face,
I see what you mean.
But is it more than just a beautiful idea?
Right.
Does it actually hold any weight in the real world?
Good question.
Well, we talked to a love coach who works with couples who are convinced they've found their soulmates. And their stories are pretty amazing.
Really?
They say that believing they found their soulmate actually makes their commitment stronger. And it deepens their intimacy.
That's pretty powerful.
It is.
But isn't there another side to this?
Oh, totally.
Like the argument that love that lasts isn't about some predestined connection.
Right.
It's about putting in the work.
Yeah.
It's about compatibility and being willing to grow together even when things get tough.
Absolutely. And speaking of compatibility, our sociologist actually has some research that backs that up.
Oh, that's interesting.
They say that compatibility isn't just about liking the same things. It's about aligning on values and goals.
Oh, okay.
And even like communication styles.
That makes sense.
And their research actually found that couples who focus on making decisions together instead of relying on this sense of like destiny
Yeah.
are actually way more satisfied in their relationships. Yeah, it's quite fascinating.
So then how does this whole soulmate idea work if people are always changing and growing?
Right.
Can you really have one perfect match if you're not the same person you were 5 years ago?
It's like a paradox, isn't it?
It really is.
We want to believe in this idea of finding the perfect person.
Yeah.
But we also know that people change over time.
Right.
So how do we reconcile those two things?
I don't know.
It's a good question.
Yeah.
I'd love to get our experts' take on this.
Me too.
Like, how do we find that sweet spot between the romantic idea of soulmates and the fact that relationships need to be flexible?
Right. Because people change.
Exactly.
Maybe this is where the whole idea of personal growth comes in.
Oh, tell me more.
Like maybe it's not about finding someone who completes you right now,
Okay.
but finding someone who supports you in becoming the best version of yourself.
I like that.
And vice versa.
Yeah. So you're both growing together.
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And speaking of individual experiences,
Oh, yeah.
let's hear what some of our listeners have to say.
Cool.
They've shared some really diverse stories and beliefs about soulmates,
I'm sure.
and I'm really curious to see how those beliefs have actually played out in their relationships,
Yeah, me too.
like the good and the bad.
It's interesting, right?
It is.
Even if this whole soulmate thing is a myth,
Mm-hmm.
it can still be a powerful motivator.
Oh, how so?
Like it can inspire people to put more effort into their relationships,
Okay.
to see the best in their partner,
Yeah,
and to work through challenges instead of just giving up.
that's a good point.
Yeah.
So we've covered a lot of ground today.
But yeah.
We've looked at definitions,
Yeah.
cultural contexts,
Yeah.
and even some research.
Okay.
And it all comes down to this big question.
What's that?
Do soulmates really exist?
Yeah.
Or is there more to this story?
I think it's definitely more nuanced than just a simple yes or no.
Right.
Like we've seen that this soulmate idea can be really appealing, But it has to be balanced with a realistic understanding of things like compatibility
Yeah.
and personal growth and the effort that goes into making a relationship work.
Right. It's not all just destiny and magic.
Exactly.
The couples who seem to thrive are the ones who embrace both the romantic side
Mm,
and the reality of what it takes to build a strong and lasting bond.
I love that.
Me too.
It's about finding that balance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, we want to leave you with something to think about.
Okay.
As you look back on your own experiences with love,
Mm-hmm.
what really resonates with you from everything we've talked about today?
Yeah.
And how can those insights shape how you view your relationships?
Interesting.
Like not just your past relationships,
Yeah.
but also the ones you have now and the ones you might have in the future.
That's a good question.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.